health is the dominant issue, the design of the phases were just that. You go into phase one, if you get no rebound, and you satisfy the gating for yet again a second time, then you go to phase two. If you have no rebound and you satisfy the gating criteria for a third time, you go into phase three. So there are multiple checkpoints of safety there. So as I've said from this podium, when we were talking about the first 15 days of the mitigation, and then we extended it another 30 days, I essentially pleaded with the American public to say, let us make sure we do the best that we can to accomplish that. And in fact, mitigation works. You saw the charts that the Vice President and that Dr. Birx put up. It worked. And what we hope, and I believe we will be successful, if we carefully do this, again, with the attention to the safety and health of the American public, that we will be able to, it will be staggered. Not every state, not every region is going to do it at the same time. That's clearly obvious because of the varied dynamics of the outbreak. But we feel confident that sooner or later, we will get to the point, hopefully sooner, with safety as the most important thing, to a point where we can get back to some form of normality. The one thing I liked about it that Dr. Birx said so well is that no matter what phase you're in, there are certain fundamental things that we've done that are not like it was in September and October. You want to call it the new normal, you can call it whatever you want. But even if you are in phase 1, 2, 3, it's not okay, game over. It's not. It's going to be a way that we protect ourselves because, as we know, and as I've said from this podium, it may very well be, as we go the cycle around, that there'll be this virus that wants to come back to us. I think we're going to be able to handle that. Thank you.
Mr. President.
Go ahead, Dr. Fauci. Dr. Fauci, so I assume that there's also a phase 4, which is after a vaccine is developed and available to everybody. So, question on phase 3 being the new normal. Are we, during that phase, going to be able to see things like packed arenas for sporting events, large crowds, concerts?
The answer is, it is conceivable that we will be able to do that. I think there will always have to be attention to making sure that we don't do all that packing in together. I think we'll be able to have sports events in that phase where you actually have participants there. I'm not sure you're going to be able to do that uniformly and evenly temporally with everyone, but when people get to that phase, paying attention to the fact that if there is a rebound of any sort, that when you're in that phase, you can respond to that, or you put it back and go in the other way. So the flexibility is that there may be some setbacks. I mean, let's face it, this is uncharted water. There may be some setbacks that we may have to pull back a little and then go forward. But John, the direct answer to your question, I do see us getting more towards normal.
Mr. President. Mr. President, if you take a look at the gating criteria as outlined in these guidelines, there are at least a handful of states. I just looked at the trend lines: Idaho, Wyoming, Hawaii, Montana. That look like they've already satisfied that gating criteria.
Right.
In your call with the governors this afternoon, did you hear back from any states who said, we're already there, we could start the process now?
I did. I heard from a number of governors that said they're in very good shape. I also heard not only from the call, but I heard from some of the governors previous, and I think you'll have some very good things to report over the next few days about states opening up. And I think, John, having to do with your call on sports, depending on the area, depending where we're talking about, you're going to have large areas of our country where this has not been or